Saturday's USL Championship action brings us to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. At Highmark Stadium, it's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds taking on the Oakland Roots. Alongside former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, I'm Jack Edwards here on the ESPN Plus broadcast. Gary, let's start things off talking about Pittsburgh. It's been a rough stretch for them across these last 10 games, winless, and especially in the last 10 hours of play, scoreless in play.
Yeah. And giving goals away. That one against Monterey Bay, they should have scored through Kiza. They conceded. It's just not working out for them around goal, and yet their opponents, Corey Bennett, Las Vegas, gets two. That one, an unlucky deflected shot. Loose City, Janssen there in a 1-0 win. So they haven't conceded a lot, but they just cannot score at the moment.
And here are some of those stats. 2023, of course, the Players' Shield winners. They scored 22 goals through 18 games last year, just 11 this year, despite those expected goals numbers being almost better this year.
Yeah, they are better, and yet they've scored half the number of goals, and therein is their problem. The actual creation of goals is good. The taking of them is what has been their biggest challenge, and they've got to turn it around today.
Well, today's player to watch, presented by Modelo, is going to be one of the forwards in Edward Kiza, a key player for them. They got to turn the goals around. He's got 3 so far this year.
Yeah, 3 goals, but in 17 games, there's a little tap in here. He needs to be more creative around goal. Yeah, shovel, but you've got to shovel your team out of trouble at the moment. That's what he's got to do. He needs to tuck away all these chances he's getting. They're depending on Edward Kiza.
Can they end their scoreless streak today? We shall see. It's going to be a really tough test. 5 wins through 6 games for Oakland. Yeah,
Lindo Mfeka, what an assist this is. Johnny Rodriguez with a simple tap in, and that's 2 games running that Lindo Mfeka set him up. Sherry at the far post. Cam Riley tucks that one away. So Oakland Roots have been finding goals. Matsoso as well chipping in. So they've been creating a number of chances, and they've been taking them.
They haven't taken them. They're sat at 2nd in the West, and their player to watch today, Johnny Rodriguez, 6 goals, and some of them really spectacular.
This was the one against Monterey Bay. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get them any points, but what a finish. Nabil Hackshaw with a 30-40 yard pass in there. Lindo Mfeka again setting up Johnny Rodriguez. 3 goals, 3 matches. When you've got a player in form like that, Johnny Rodriguez, you rely on him to hit the back of the net.
6 goals this season. He's scored in 3 consecutive games. It's the red-hot Oakland Roots taking on a struggling Pittsburgh Riverhounds side. A pleasure to share this one with you on ESPN Plus. Let's take one more break. On the other side of it, it's lineups and kickoff between the Riverhounds and the Roots.
At AHN, we see you trying to be your absolute best. And when it feels like you lost your best along the way. We see you taking control.
Looks good. Prescription. It says here.
And needing the quickest care possible.
Let's go.
At AHN, we see you.
Ain't no better feeling than a cold one in my hand. Well, that's why I'll be keeping Iron City in my plans. Oh, everywhere I roam, I'll be thinking about my home. Sitting pouring on the iron right before I go to rest. And when I'm laying in my bed, there's only one thing in my head. Just an ice cold can of Pittsburgh, PA's best.
Want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming? X marks the spot. Now get Xfinity Internet for 12 months and add the new Stream Saver that includes Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV+. That's Xfinity Internet for $25 a month plus Stream Saver for $15. All your favorites, all in one place, all for one low price. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot. Switch to Xfinity, the network made for streaming, and bring on the good stuff.
Tonight's match is presented by the Allegheny Health Network, the official medical provider of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Riverhounds taking on the Roots here at Highmark Stadium. Jack Edwards alongside Gary Bailey on ESPN+. Our lineups, first of all, for Pittsburgh, no changes from the team that lost 1-0 to Monterey. Same group out here.
Yeah, Bob Lilly said, you know what, it's a decent performance against Monterey. Yet they didn't get the win. They conceded a goal in the dying seconds, but he felt no need to change. Unfortunately for him, Danny Griffin's still not available. Neither is Pat Hogan, who's ill, so he won't be on the bench. But it's a team that they have to perform, and today I think is the day. The season is moving towards a conclusion.
We'll see how that pans out for Pittsburgh. For Oakland on the road, making 2 changes at the fullback positions. Memo Diaz, Justin Rasmussen out, Brian Tamakis, Jessiel Cedeno into the squad.
Yep, Cedeno will move into midfield. Jai comes to that left back. Tamakis very good in that right back position and bombs forward up front. That Mfeka Rodriguez-Sherry combination could be all sorts of danger. 4-3-3 is the lineup there for the Oakland Roots.
Riverhounds and Roots, those are your lineups. Gavin Glinton, coming off a big moment for him personally, named the USL Championship head coach of the month for the month of June. It's been a very tough run in these last couple weeks for Pittsburgh. Their last win coming all the way back on May the 4th against Miami at home. A month of July entirely at home, Gary. A chance really to turn the season around, as you mentioned. Kind of not last moments, but really to kick into gear kind of soon.
Well, if they don't, they're going to be too far behind to make it, and that's the problem. But, you know, what's interesting is what Gavin Glinton said about Oakland Roots. He said, we're also fighting for our lives. It might look like we're good sitting, you know, second in the West. He said, but it can all change. He said, how many teams have been sitting second in the last few weeks and have ended up outside of the playoffs? He said, only a couple of points separating us. So we know that we're fighting for our lives as well, and we're not going to take it easy at Highmark. So it should be a cracking game today.
Abil Ben Salah is our head official for tonight's match, and you mentioned that 29 points now, 22 of those coming under Glinton since he came in at the very end of the month of April, and they've passed a lot of teams to rise themselves up now to second in the West. As for Pittsburgh, they're currently sat in 11th in the East, 15 points, and they're 6 points off North Carolina, who sit in that playoff spot in 8th if they want to try and make the playoffs again this year. And the all-black kits are the home side, the Riverhounds, and the whites of Oakland making the cross-country trek, getting out of the month of California for the first time in quite some time. They'll be heading from right to left, getting ourselves underway. First whistle is gone, and it's the Roots. We'll begin with possession. Hackshaw, early long delivery forward. Coming together in midfield. That will result in some immediate tension. Tough coming together, and a foul going against Oakland.
Yeah, clash of heads there. His keys are there, just getting up a little bit slowly. Napoli Matsoso colliding with him. And referee quite rightly stopping it immediately just to make sure that there's no concussion issues.
Keza will need to a moment just off the pitch to get himself attended to. So within a minute, already a coming together between Matsoso and Keza. And a free kick going the way of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can get us back underway after an early stoppage, moving this one out to the left-hand side. We've got our keys to the game for this one. The keys to the game brought to you by the premium light lager that embodies all things black and gold. IC Light. For Pittsburgh, take their chances. Oakland trying to get some more pressure on the ball.
Yeah, for Pittsburgh, it's quite obvious. There's nothing else to say except that their goals scored is 13 below the expected goals. So they're creating the chances. They're not giving much away. They're just not scoring the chances. And Oakland get more pressure on the ball is what Gavin Glinton wanted last match. And if you're going to play a team that's struggling, then pressurize them, especially around the box. Try and take ball off them in dangerous areas.
Coming off a 1-0 win against Louisville, the best scoring sides in the league, and they held them to a season-low 9 shots. And a big part of that, according to Glinton talking to him this week, was putting better pressure on in the second half as the ball cleared forward all the way back for a goal kick for Pittsburgh.
It's a really good result, beating Lou City at any stage. I mean, they're top of the USL, so a win there, a fantastic one, and that comes after beating Orange County away 2-0. They're on a great run at the moment.
Indeed, they are. Eric Dick getting themselves ready with this goal kick here. A few unavailabilities for both teams we mentioned. So we can look at tonight's injury report presented by Epic Insurance. Danny Griffin, Pat Hogan, unavailable for the Riverhounds. Justin Rasmussen, head injury last match, unavailable for Oakland. Danny Griffin last week missing the first match of his professional career. So rare that he's unavailable for selection, but still on the comeback from his leg issue as a free kick goes the way of Pittsburgh.
I mean, in 5 years, 134 consecutive matches. How good a professional do you have to be to do that?
Ball out wide to the right-hand side for Pittsburgh, dealt with by Oakland, and it's a throw-in. We'll ask you that question. How impressive is that to go 134 games consecutive? How rare is that?
Well, it's rare because you've got to have a great engine to be able to do that week in and week out. And obviously the manager wouldn't choose you if you couldn't perform, but also to avoid injury.
Sample plays that one off, looking for Johnson, and it's cleared away.
Some good early pressure from the home side. They only scored 11 goals, lowest in the USL Championship. I mean, I would never have thought I would say that about a Pittsburgh side. The lowest in the entire USL. To bear in mind, they were the Eastern champions last year. Now, they lost a ton of important players, and I think one has to be fair about that. Of course, Dikwa was the top goal scorer as well, but they missed a number of other players who have been important to them. Ordonez left. Ibarra went to Rhode Island, was another one. Jamali Waite went to El Paso. So, you know, you lose 3, 4, 5. And of course, King Kenny, who's been the mainstay of this side, is now 36. He's just maybe not able to put in 90-minute performances. So effectively, you haven't got him at his best that he has been. That's a lot of good talent to be down on year.
A lot of turnover from last year, and you mentioned it already, Gary, but the expected goals number is 23.59, which is right about 10th in the entire league. Not a bad number of expected goals, but they've scored just 11, as we see coming together there. Another free kick going against Oakland. It's going to be a chance maybe for a delivery here. But that underperformance of 12.9 is the worst in the league. The next closest in terms of underperformance is Hartford, and theirs is -6.7. So twice as bad as Hartford, as we'll see another look at this one coming together here.
Yeah, Keys are just playing the ball through for Etu. It gets brought down there. He's going to be so important down that left-hand side, Junior Etu, just creating opportunities, getting ball into the box. But it's a nice positive start from the home side, which they did against Monterey Bay last match. The only problem was they weren't able to score any goals, and that's what Bob Liddy said. That was our problem. We created the chances. If we'd have gone ahead, we could have really, put the sword in against Monterey Bay, but they couldn't find the back of the net.
It's Robbie Mertz with the right-footed free kick here. 4 in black in the box that he could potentially aim for. He'll go short, slides it across. Biasi returns it to Mertz. Stands that one up, and it arcs out of play. Just more on that Monterey Bay game. 0-0. There's a clearance forward by Monterey. A good touch by Sean Suber. The pass, though, under hit. Osani Buda gets onto the end of it and puts it away in the 91st minute. And the only shot on target of the match for Monterey Bay is the goal, and it's a 1-0 defeat.
Yeah, I mean, that's heartbreaking when you get beaten in the last moment, but especially a match in which you were so much better. In terms of shots on target, 8 for Pittsburgh, just that one in the last seconds for Monterey Bay. Corners, 10 for Pittsburgh, 0 for Monterey Bay. So it's the worst type of smash and grab you can ever get as a player, when you've totally dominated the match, when you should have won it. All the stats are in your favor. You've got a draw in your hands, and in the dying moments, an error in defense, and you walk away with nothing. And that's maybe summed up their season. Bob Liddy's saying there's a number of games you should have done so much better.
Johnson will crack that one towards goal. The first shot on target. It's saved. Sat up for him. A solid effort, and tests Paul Blanchette for the first time today.
You gotta say it louder.
Yeah, decent effort, but straight at the goalkeeper. And you want your strikers to shoot, so good first touch. You want to test the goalkeeper a little bit more, try and get it in that far corner, stretch Paul Blanchette and see what he can do.
Blanchette coming off a 4th clean sheet of the season as part of that very strong defensive performance against Louisville. So a 1-0 win for Oakland last time out, 1-0 defeat for Pittsburgh. Kind of just showing where these two teams are at the moment, as Etu will be able to get that one run across him for a throw-in for Pittsburgh. Flicked on by Kizza. It's a clever flick by Mertz over his head. Able to backheel that one back towards Etu. Mertz again slides that one in, trying to pick out Johnson. The flag goes up. Wasn't able to bring it under his spell, but was in an offside position regardless.
Yeah, good holding of the line there by the Oakland Roots defense. But also that wasn't corralled properly, was it, that ball through? So they need to do better, Pittsburgh, when they get in that box. Even though it was offside, you still want to see a shot on target.
There's Gavin Glinton, interim man for Oakland. You can see that turnaround. These last 11 games been a great run of form. 7 wins, 22 of their 29 points coming under his reign. It was a tough decision to move on from Noah Delgado, but looking like the right one right now.
Oh, well, bearing in mind it's Coach of the Month for June, as you mentioned. It's a fantastic performance by Gavin Glinton. You never know what a coach can bring. Well, he certainly brought something special to Oakland Roots, and I like the fact that he is not getting carried away with it. He's saying, you know what, it can all change. It can come back in 2 weeks later and we're out of a playoff position. That's how tight the West is. He's very realistic about it, and he knows that his team's going to have to keep picking up points whenever they can.
Played over the top, able to be flicked down all the way back now to Dick.
Something else has been impressive about Oakland Roots, especially if you look at the last 3 games, their expected goals has been really high. Against Lou City, they had a better expected goal than Lou City, 1.33. Away at Orange County, over 2. And away at Monterey Bay, 2.34. I mean, that's really good XG on the road, expected goals on the road. So you look at them and you think, well, they're not just, you know, stealing points here. They're going out there and they're playing well, and they're earning points by being a good attacking side.
Played across, Osumanu. Moved out wide. Here's Blackstock playing that one centrally. Clever flick to bring that one down out of the air. Good work by Najai to pull that one away from the press. Johnson. Here's Blanchette. Header there going out of play. Last touching. Oakland will be a throw-in for Pittsburgh.
We saw that long ball to Cherie. He wasn't able to head it to one of his players, but I think they're going to use him a lot as a target man up front. We saw him score a goal against Orange County, or create a goal rather. Just headed it down from a corner, and Cam Riley knocked it over the line. So the big man up front for Oakland Roots is a good player to aim for when you're under pressure.
Atsu Kiza. There's Biasi firing that one into the box. Blanchette came off his line, claim that. Rodriguez coming together there. Referee paying it no extra mind. Throwing for Pittsburgh. Jackson Walty to Luke Biasi. Now Etu. Mertz gets ahead to it to nod that down for Kiza. Walty taking off his foot. Sherry dropping deeper. Now here's Rodriguez. Back to Sherry, trying to push that out wide to Najai behind the left back's run. Turns possession over.
Sherry had time to play that into space in front of Njai, so it wasn't a good pass there. They're going to need him to be a little bit sharper. Just 2 goals and 1 assist in 17 for Mishinaida Sherry. So not great stats, but he's in a very good team that's playing positive football at the moment, so there's every chance he can add to those numbers.
Flicks down by Hackshaw, and it falls for Pittsburgh. A bit of control from Mertz to dance through a couple. Now into the top of the box, lays it off. They'll move it along again to Etu, and he fires it home. The scoreless streak ends. What an important goal for the Riverhounds, and they open the score at home.
That's a brilliantly constructed goal. Yes, Bob Lilly. Can we get a smile, please? Because he hasn't had a lot to smile about the last 6 matches. They haven't been able to score, but beautifully crafted down the right-hand side. But the feet of Robbie Mertz when this ball comes to him. He's so clever on the edge of the box, picks it up here. He's going to run at the at the sort of edge of the box. Now watch his feet, drags it, gets inside, gets played in, gets very quickly played by Sample to Etu, who's made the run from deep. And what a good finish. Fantastic goal, lovely setup from Sample, and hit with so much power that Paul Blanchet's got no chance whatsoever. And there you go, he gets to celebrate at last.
Ends a run of over 660 minutes of scoreless play.
His first of the season, number 8.
Can't overstate how tough a run it has been for Pittsburgh, but Bob Lilly saying they're at home all of July. It's a massive opportunity to turn things around. And Junior Etu, his first goal of the season, and what a time to get it.
And you need your fullbacks or your wingbacks and midfielders. If your strikers are struggling to score and they're putting in a shift, they're defending, they're coming back, and sometimes you've got to bomb forward and make the difference. Robbie Mertz, absolutely fantastic. Twinkle toes there. Sample from midfield. He gets up. He sets up Etu coming up as a wing back. That was crafted without any play from the forwards, but that's what you need to do when you're not able to score up front.
Blackstock, you see that record when scoring first. 3 wins in the 4 matches they've scored first this year. Hasn't happened a lot, but it's been a good omen. All 3 of their wins this season coming when scoring first.
And they're at Highmark, so you would expect them to go on and win this, and if they don't, there's going to be some recriminations and some questions. They have to go on from here, have a good game, and start to build on this and work their way up the table in the East.
Here's Mertz again. Pushes this one out wide to Blackstock, stands it up to the back post to his opposite fullback. It's Etu. Mertz making himself available. Fired into the box, and in the end just hits the legs of his teammate. And it's out for a goal kick. Robbie Mertz won't get credited for the assist on that goal, but as you mentioned, Gary, just dancing through on that right wing. It almost felt like if they didn't score there, it would have been another instance of maybe overplaying it a bit, but in the end was just the perfect amount of work to get the angle for Etu.
It was, and they had numbers in the box. They had Sample in there, and then Junior Etu bombing in as well, so it really stretched Oakland routes. But really, it's Robbie Mertz's skill, his little clever dragovers that got him into the box and got him past a number of defenders. And Bob Lilly must be a huge sigh of relief at this barren spell of not being able to score, because like you said, and we've spoken about, said his team have created a ton of chances. They've even had a penalty in that run.
Yeah.
And that penalty against Las Vegas, Rose Arena saved the first and he saved the second from Musha Galusa. So at the end of the day, if you can't even score a penalty, then you really know that things are not working out your way.
You talked about the confidence just not there with the group right now because of the way the goals haven't gone, the way the results haven't gone. We've talked about how Gavin Glinton looks at this battle in the West and knows that nothing's done as of yet, but currently if that holds, a chance to get some extra points for Pittsburgh. As they know that work obviously nowhere near done, just 15 minutes in here, but the goal, a massive first step in trying to turn around their fortune so far. Really was the 2023 USL Championship Head Coach of the Year. It's a team that obviously lost a lot, as you mentioned, Gary. But there were bigger expectations, and where the performances have been versus where the results have been has been a massive discrepancy. One of the biggest surprises in the entire USL Championship. Offsides there. It's going to be a free kick for Oakland.
Yeah, we did ask Bob Lilly, have you been in this situation before? Because he's been such a successful coach over the years with Rochester and, of course, here with Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And he said, yeah, we've been there. He said, go back to 2019. We had 2 wins and 7 draws from our first 11 games. So we were in all sorts of trouble, and guess what? We ended up winning the title in the East. He said, and there was another time as well before that where they really struggled and came back and did well. So he said, look, it's not unusual that this happens. He said, but we have to recover quickly. And hopefully for him and for Pittsburgh Riverhounds fans, today is the day they do that.
After a tussle in that right corner, that Hackshaw won, possession goes back again to Pittsburgh. That pass, Biasi forced goal scorer Etu to drop a bit deeper. Turned back over. Feka, his pass, unable to find a teammate. Kiza. Dropped over the top. It's Johnson. Hackshaw tight right over his shoulder. Hold play up, slide it across, Suber. Biasi, Etu. Mertz making the run to his outside. Etu trying to find him. They want offsides. Flag stays down. Mertz into the box, and the header just off there. Kiza couldn't get anything towards goal. Waltia's header going across is cleared away. Osumanu nods it down. Has to be careful under the press of Sherry.
Wow, that header from Edward Kiza at the near post. I think it hit Nabil Hackshaw straight in the head and out. If he doesn't get in the way, Nabil Hackshaw, every chance it ends up in the back of the net. Much, much better from Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Fired forward by Mertz, aiming for Kiza, and it's blocked. That one may have hit the referee, but no play advantage. Stayed with Oakland.
The thing about this Oakland Roots side, it's such a good team and playing so well under Gavin Clinton. Their fans watching needn't get too despondent because this team is able to turn it on when they need to. And you just look at their recent wins. I mean, beating Lou City, so impressive. Going away to Orange County and winning. They got a win at home to El Paso, then away at Sac Republic, by the way.
It's an impressive record when conceding first for Oakland, coming from behind across these matches.
Beat Tampa Bay at home, don't forget. There's a result for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a team that is resilient. It's a team that is playing with great confidence, and a coach has got them playing on the front foot. So, yeah, long way to go in this match yet. I think for Pittsburgh, it's just a fantastic start. It's what they needed, but I don't think Oakland Roots players will be overly concerned because they know that they're good enough to get back in this match.
Here's Hackshaw, one of the longest spells of possession this match so far for Oakland. Riley. Jai back to Hackshaw. Going for the long option. Rodriguez got his head to it, but he was offsides. Leaves Biasi holding his face after coming together there. It'll be a free kick for Pittsburgh.
I don't think Luke Biasi's as big a centre-back as the likes of Suba or Sumanu, so as Gavin Clinton watches on. So he has to really risk getting a few bangs in the face to get that extra height, but very good with his left foot. They've played him as a left wing-back often this season and last season, but with so many of the centre-backs leaving, including Ordonez, he's come to play a more centre-back role this year under Bob Lilly.
Not seen much of him in the attacking third for Johnny Rodriguez as of yet. He has that club record 25 goals. I said before the match, only needs half a chance to score one. Rodriguez does. Be one of the chief threats that Pittsburgh have in mind.
Just a natural goal scorer, the sort of player that Pittsburgh need at the moment, because they're having to manufacture goals from everywhere, Pittsburgh. But Johnny Rodriguez, just natural once he gets in the box.
Here's Mertz. Slides it off. Moved along to Sample. Blackstock stretching play out to the right-hand side. A left-footed delivery into the back post over everybody. Out for a goal kick in the end. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select is the player's choice. Pass going out of play there by Njai, and it's thrown now for the hosts. Gavin Clinton looking on. First 20 minutes that have been controlled in large part by the hosts. Just the two shots, one of them being scored by Junior Etu. No shots as of yet for the Roots. Playing just their second match ever here at Highmark Stadium. That one coming back in October of 2022. Conversation here between Bensela and
coming to Pittsburgh.
Clinton.
And we're down to the final
3-1 win when these sides met back in 2022 and a 0-0 draw in the last meeting that came in June of last year. Here's Etu. Super to Biasi. Sample. Try one over the top. The run of Blackstock brought it down, and it went out of play before he could play it off of the defender. It's a goal kick.
Good switch of play from Bradley Sample there. Not an easy ball, and he gets it right to Blackstock's foot. He just can't keep it in play, but a nice idea to try and stretch the pitch and force Oakland Roots to have to cover both sides.
Over the top, Sherry trying to get on the end of it. Couldn't quite bring it in front of him. Osumanu puts it out of play. Showcasing the direct threat that Oakland possess. Nothing coming from that one.
Hall of Fame worthy July specials. Ammo has whipped up his almost world-famous foot-long chili cheese.
Strong crowd as always. We've talked about it a couple times, but several home matches in the month of July. Obviously, the defeat to Monterey, a tough one to get the month started. Fortress is what they aim to have Highmark be. 81 wins across the last 11 years. Taking on Hartford and Loudoun at home. There's a free kick. Johnson holding up an apologetic hand after bringing down the opposing captain.
They're shouting for a yellow from the bench there, but it was a clumsy tackle. But then the referee's saying, look, clumsy or not, you can't allow that sort of thing. So there's a warning, happens again. You will end up like Gavin Clinton, not happy. And you understand, he's got a point, but it did seem to be more clumsy than nasty. Look at it again. Neville Hackshaw has plays the ball and then collides into him. I mean, it's borderline yellow, so Gavin Clinton every right to ask the referee.
One of those where you've seen them given.
Yes.
In that instance, though, letting it breathe a little bit more, put a word in, probably some good refereeing there just to keep a lid on the match. But also not bring out an unnecessary yellow. Here is Oakland, though.
As long as you're consistent with it.
Exactly. That may have been what Gavin Clinton was saying. He hopes to see that should the whistle go against his side next time. Hackshaw, that's Riley. Over the top, and he'll be able to be claimed by Eric Dick.
The first touch that Eric's had on the ball there. The goalkeeper has been more of a spectator in this match, which just shows you that they haven't got on the front foot much yet, Oakland Roots, with such a high XG in all their games. They haven't got going as yet.
Riverhounds fans, please join us on Saturday, July 20th, when the Hounds welcome Hartford to town. You can get your tickets today. It's a free kick in the middle of the park.
That's a big one. Hartford at home for Bob Lilly. It's another team that's struggling just above them in the league table. If they do get 3 points here, Pittsburgh, it gets them right up next to Hartford, and then they can go past them and maybe try and snag that 8th and final playoff spot. Bottom line is, if you can't beat your rivals around you, then
it's a tough task.
Yeah, perhaps you don't deserve to be in the playoffs, and I pretty much think that's how Bob Lilly will see it as well.
Obviously, a lot until we get to the playoffs later this season, but Pittsburgh went into the playoffs last year, the #1 seed in the East, took on Detroit City at home, 1 versus 8. That is going to be a free kick, and that is going to be the first yellow card of our match. That one going against Brian Tamakis. Junior Etu brought down there.
Tamakis trying to explain that it wasn't worthy of a yellow, but you can see he's annoyed with himself. Again, a nice switch of play from the Riverhounds. Yeah, there's a bit of a follow through, isn't there? He's got the ball and doesn't seem to attempt to put his knee back. Maybe it couldn't. I don't know. It's very difficult to say, but either way, it was a bit of danger, wasn't it?
We talked about that non-yellow card on Emmanuel Johnson. How does that compare in your eyes, Gary, between those two challenges?
I think that's more dangerous. So they say to get a yellow, you've got to act with disregard for the opponent. Well, the knee was following through. It was dangerous, whereas the other one on Neville Hackshaw was just a bump, a late bump. So I can see why one's a yellow and one's not, but I don't think Gavin Clinton will quite see it the same way.
Very rarely will you agree with a call against your side. It's a first yellow card for either team. Brian Tamakis coming in that right back spot, part of 2 changes from that 1-0 win against Louisville last time out.
Important for Emmanuel Johnson to do something. He's big, he's strong, the #9. In 9 games, 0 goals. Set pieces, this could be where he can find the back of the net.
It's Robbie Mertz. They went short when they had a free kick a bit closer last time. There's actually going to be a yellow card given. Looks to be to Paul Blanchette, and it is less for what he's done and more so what he's said, and Gavin Clinton His frustrations compounded there.
Well, if it is a yellow and he's continuing to shot, he needs to be careful.
Here's the free kick from Mertz. It goes down in the box, but no one there. And Black able to try and put one towards frame. Osumanu pushes that out wide. It's a clever ball in the end to pick out Mertz. Etu. That hit a hand in the box, and it's a point to the spot. A massive opportunity, a massive moment in the match. And Nabil Ben Salah points to the spot. A chance for Pittsburgh to double their lead.
Wow, big turning point in this match. And it comes from the pressure from Pittsburgh, edge of the box there. Junior Etu once, yep, now he turns, does hit his hand. You see it now from this angle here. You can see the hand there of Brian Tamakis. And straight away he looks guilty. Not much you can do as a player. You're trying to get your hands out the way. Paul Blanchett, if he did get that yellow, yes, confirmed, then he needs to be very careful with all these discussions and arguments, because I have seen 2 yellows in recent weeks for players who keep on arguing.
He'll need to pass on the argument to his teammates moving forward. Blanchett, Tamakis booked in quick succession. And Tamakis conceding the penalty with the handball. And Robbie Mertz was instrumental in the first goal today. He's still waiting for his first goal of 2024. Mertz from the spot, puts it away. You wait so long for 1 and 2 come in quick succession. Pittsburgh 2, Oakland 0.
That's a good finish, isn't he? He's hit it with so much power. I think down the middle. Blanchett goes one way, but he puts it up with a bit of height in the middle as well, so you can't leave a trailing leg. But Junior Etu scores one, creates another. Robbie Mertz created the first one, scores the second. Nice combination, nice input from those 2 players. Have a look. Does it go down the middle? Blanchett goes to his right. It looks like it's high down the middle, which gives the goalkeeper no chance. Any way you say that is if you stand still. It's a very good penalty, well tucked away. This time they do score. They missed the one against Vegas. They buried that one. 2-0 up. Wow. Things are looking so much more positive for a side that hasn't scored in what, 580 odd minutes coming into this match.
It's amazing what 1 goal can do for the confidence. It's 2-0 now. Mertz puts that one away for his first goal of the season. Scored twice back in 23 across 31 appearances. We've seen him be an important part of this midfield. That's going to be a free kick. Rodriguez brought down. Still no shots for Oakland.
Gavin Clinton obviously a little bit upset there. But his team were 2-0 down against Monterey Bay. And they got one back through Johnny Rodriguez, and might feel that they could have got an equalizer. So in no way are this team in white out of it. They will certainly come back at Pittsburgh, you would think.
Long ball forward. Sherry challenging for it. Sample pushes it along. Rodriguez leaps up. Osumanu gets his head to it, and Blackstock can put a foot through it to clear it away. It'll be a throw for Hackshaw and the Roots. You see those stats in the top left of your screen.
Not good for Oakland Roots, is it? Look, I mean, sometimes away from home, you'll sort of defend a little bit more early on and then try and build your way into the game. But you're coming up against a team who's really struggled. You would have thought they would have gone for them from the off. And in fact, that was one of our keys.
That was what you said, Gary.
High pressure on the ball. Something that Gavin Clinton wanted them to do. They just haven't been able to. Maybe that's credit to Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Yeah. It's Eric Dick who will have this goal kick for Pittsburgh. Flicked along. Sherry unable to keep that one around. Bob Lilly barking out instructions on the edge of his technical area.
I don't think Bob Lilly will let them off even 2-0 up. He's going to keep on at them, but he drills his side. The defensive record under Bob Lilly has just been phenomenal over the years. It's been less than a goal a game over the last 5 or 6 years he's been in charge, and even, in fact, it's 0.94 in 222 matches under Bob Lilly. And even this season, it's 1.1 something.
Yeah.
Which is a 4th or 5th best. It's in fact the 5th best in the entire USL. And that's a terrible season. So defensively, he's got to be one of the best coaches ever seen in the USL. As we said, his issue hasn't been in defense, it's been taking goals. And today they have 2 goals to the good.
Clever pass to break through that bit of pressure from Pittsburgh. Moved along. Jai is past Rodriguez, just on different wavelengths. Fullback in the forward. Sumanu. Hackshaw, bit of strength in the back of Johnson. You can hear the appeals from the home crowd. Referee letting play continue. Hackshaw has to be careful here, and he'll opt to just pound that ball up the field. Biasi's header. Mertz brings it down.
The problem for Oakland Roots now is at 1-0 down, you can get back in the game easily. At 2-0 down, you concede another one, and it's almost impossible to get back in. So now it becomes a lot trickier for Oakland Roots. They can't risk at the back too much, but they've got to do something up front to get back in the game.
Hackshaw calmly plays that ball forward. Matsoso. With some patient build-up, moving this one now into the opposing half. Feka moves it out wide. Matsoso, Hackshaw. Center back moving a bit further wide. Rodriguez receives it top of the box, trying to turn, taking off his foot. Blackstock offering the option. Not a ton of numbers flying forward for the counter for Pittsburgh, not opening themselves up too much, which the 2-0 lead. Not sure it makes too much sense to do that. Slid back to Biasi. That pass will be turned over by the Riverhounds, and it's Jai, Sherry, Feka, now Matsoso. Here's Tamakis.
The whole of that Pittsburgh Riverhound side is in that final third. They really are getting numbers behind the ball, making it difficult for Oakland Roots, which makes sense. You're 2-0 up. It's up to the Roots to try and find a way through, and all the time you're looking for a quick counter-attack if you're Riverhounds.
Sherry. Push that to Matsoso. Hackshaw saw the run that Jai was making, but it goes out of play for the throw in. If you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, you can hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Johnson on the throw in. Going to showcase some strength here. It's a strong challenge. He'll win a throw in still for his side. Johnson will. Stays with Pittsburgh. Gary, from a Pittsburgh perspective, you're up 2-0 right now. Are you dropping deep? Are you trying to cut things off? Or do you still try and push players forward? Play like you did for this first half hour. What's the mentality now as we near halftime?
I think it's a mixture of the two. I mean, I would like to see Pittsburgh stay on the attack, stay pushing up, but when they lose possession and Oakland have the ball for quite a while, they will drop deep because they have this 2-goal lead. But what's got them into that good position has been attacking play, high pressure, turnover here, unfortunately, fouling in the process. I always think if that's what's got you 2-0 up, don't change too much. I think I'm more concerned for Oakland Roots because I'm not seeing an energy, and in fairness to them, 7 wins from the last 9. Maybe it's just, you know, you do get that way sometimes as players. Look at that expected goal, 0 from Oakland. I mean, it really is not a quick start to the match. They're really struggling to get into it. And when you've played that well, is there a little touch of overconfidence? Perhaps. Look at themselves as second on the table, which Gavin Glinton has said is, you know, it can be misleading. It's only a few points ahead of 8th position. But do you get carried away as a player? Possibly. But they've still got time to turn it around.
All the way back now to Blanchette. I mentioned that second in the standings could be a little misleading. Obviously, with the live result here at 20 matches now for Oakland, New Mexico 5 points ahead of them, have played just 16, so a chase down would look really difficult with the 4 games in hand. Behind them, Sacramento 1 point behind, 3 matches in hand, and only Las Vegas currently, obviously with the live result, at 20 matches played. So as the table is throughout large parts of the year, really hard to get a real sense of where teams really will end up being come October. Moved along, Cedeno. Taken over now by Sample. That's who will make the creeping run up the left-hand side. It's a great ball into Johnson. Not a ton of options with him, and it's taken over by Riley. Puts a foot in, and now it's Hackshot.
Just looking at the table, if the 4 teams below them won their next match, then Oakland Roots would find themselves in 6th position from 2nd. So in just the case in the space of like 1 game, that's how tight it is there.
That's a block into the first corner, and here are the live standings here now in the Western Conference.
So Las Vegas from 6th to 3rd. If they all win, they go above Oakland Roots. They drop to 6th. Just in 1 game.
Now, how different is 2nd versus 6th in terms of the standings when you just say that number? 2nd in the West, 6th in the West. It's completely different.
And that's why Gavin Glinton again thought he was spot on when he said, we're not getting carried away. We know we've got a job to do. We're fighting for our lives as much as Pittsburgh are fighting for theirs. Not quite 100% true, of course. Pittsburgh have got to climb their way back into the playoff position. But his point is that nothing's guaranteed for Oakland Roots either.
It's the first corner of the match now for Oakland. What can they try and generate from this one? Left-footed delivery into the box, headed along, and cleared away. Kiza gets a right foot to it to push that out of play. Lofts it back into the box, but it will go all the way through.
No rush, Eric Dick, thinking, you know what, 5 minutes to half time. Let's push everyone up. Let's get the ball into the opponent's half, not do anything silly. I guess the last minute goal against Monterey Bay hasn't been forgotten that quickly, and they're going to be a little bit more. Was that an off the ball incident with an elbow?
Yeah, there was definitely a coming together there between Johnson and Jai. It did appear from that wide angle that there was a bit of extension. We'll see if it's just a discussion. There's a talk between the two. Let's see this one right here.
Does he throw the elbow there? No, he doesn't. He stands his ground.
Yeah, it is a free kick though.
Yeah. I thought for a second he'd thrown the elbow, but not to be the case.
Gavin Glinton is making that point. I think on replay, might have been, I don't want to say acting feels a little too negative
coming
there,
together,
but coming together that maybe didn't necessarily have to be a free kick, but it is in the end, and it's a chance now for Pittsburgh.
Remember, always referee gets one look at this. Bill Benslow, we get the replays.
A lot easier for us than it is for them.
If the referee, from what I saw there immediately, I thought for a second it might even be a red card. So it just shows you, referee's job is so difficult to work out exactly what happens.
Here's Robbie Mertz, scorer of the second, delivering this free kick, goes over everybody, and it's going to be a goal kick. Well, eFootball 2024 is here. You can live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. You can download it now. Just on the refereeing there, you have this long ball forward into the sun. It's coming down. You have to kind of follow the ball, follow what's happening on the ground. Almost an impossible job to be a referee.
That's why you need your assistants to see, and you can talk. And if they say to you, no, I didn't see an elbow being thrown, just the coming together, then that helps you come to the correct decision, which I believe they did.
Yeah.
It probably was a free kick, but nothing more.
Here's Kizza. Pittsburgh again in the attack. Mertz, who has been everywhere in this first half, plays that off. Biasi. His delivery now, firing it in. Blackstock gets ahead to it, sits up, scraped along. Not quite the connection that you might have expected Jackson Walty to want, but it's one back. Mertz, player down in the box. Johnson appealing. The referee telling him to get back up.
It's been done a few times, hasn't he, Johnson? If you keep going down, eventually the referee's not going to believe you. But just going back a couple of seconds there, the ball fell to Walty. I thought he should have got something on target. It was a strike from what, 10, 12 yards out. You've got to make the goalkeeper work, which he wasn't able to do. Those are the opportunities that they've been spurning the last 5 or 6 games, and you need to, I'm not saying you have to beat the keeper.
Yeah.
Just get something on target that forces Paul Blanchett into a save.
It's a great ball there now into Robbie Mertz. Sliding it back. That's a really important foot. A sliding challenge by Babacar Njai to get something on it. It's a corner in the end.
Is this the same Riverhounds we've been seeing in the last few matches?
No. No is the answer to that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just revitalized. Robbie Mertz has been a big part of that. He's been fantastic in midfield, but it just feels that they've found their mojo, which has been missing. And if they can hold on to that, this team could very easily work their way up into a playoff position.
It's Mertz again who is tasked with this set-piece delivery. Some words in the box from the referee before it can be brought in. Blanchett goes down under the challenge there. Referee again will have to hold play up. Now Blanchett is on the yellow card and getting involved in things heavily there.
The problem here without having VAR,
Yeah.
you know, the play acting can go on. I'm not going to say who's play acting and why, because it's hard to tell, but it is possible to get away with it. Let's have a look. Is there a contact on Blanchett at all? He actually pulled his hand to his face. Come on, Paul Blanchett, you can't do that.
Daniel Johnson is right back into the mix there. A lot to watch out for right at the goal line. Mertz will deliver it in with the right foot. Headed away by Hackshaw. Mertz gets it again, lays it off. Sample, first time delivery into the box, headed towards goal, and it's 3 in the first half. Sean Suber climbs highest, flicks it along. And Pittsburgh with 3 first-half goals. They're in dreamland.
Well, Christmas has come early for those Riverhounds fans. You get 0 goals in 6 games and suddenly 3 in the first half. But what a good finish there from Sean Suber. It was he who gave away the goal in the last minute against Monterey Bay, so he's going to love the fact that he scores this. It was just recycled there, knocked back Sample with the ball in. And he manages to lose his marker, Suber, because the ball's moved around. It's been recycled. Players move position, but doesn't he get up well? What a good finish as well. Gives Paul Blanchett no chance whatsoever and redeems himself from that mistake against Monterey Bay.
We enter now into 3 minutes of stoppage time. 3 goals for the Riverhounds. We talked all through the open, all through the first parts of the match about the struggles of Pittsburgh and putting the ball in the back of the net. They had 11 goals across 18 games entering today, and they've got 3 goals in 45 minutes. Cleared out of play by Walty.
Well, there's that famous expression, it's a funny game.
Yeah.
This is Bob Lilly must be thinking to himself, seriously, guys? You put me through all this, and now you're banging 3 goals in 45 minutes? But you just can't tell with soccer just why these things happen and how you can get such bad luck that you're 13 goals less than your expected goals. It's penalties not going in, terrible goals being given away. And then suddenly, 45 minutes, everything goes your way.
I can't understand what he did.
And of course, now with 3 goals, now Oakland Roots have a problem. You know, even if you get 1, you've still got a long way back, and they've got to find a way at half-time. Gavin Glinton's going to have to produce this magic that he's brought to the club since he took over, because they haven't really offered much going forward. I don't think Eric Dix had a proper save to make.
Second time this season that Pittsburgh have 3 goals. There was a 3-1 win back in April against Phoenix was the last time. That's a free kick. 2 players down here, Mertz and Soso. In the final seconds here. Our first 45.
Bobby Mertz is staying down, which is a worrying moment for, just there as he falls. Maybe there's a bang on his ankle. Oh, he's up. It's relief for the Riverhounds fans.
Just a few moments, he'll have a chance to get 15 minutes of rest after a very energetic first 45 minutes. Scored the penalty, had the pass before the pass for both the first and third goals so far.
Again, without wishing to take the shine off the Riverhounds' performance, the goals have come from a midfielder, a left wing back, and a centre back. It's not coming from your 2 strikers. That's fine once in a while, but over a season, you need those 2 up front to be scoring. Emmanuel Johnson and Edward Kiza.
Free kick going against Tamakis, who is on a yellow card, has to be careful. He conceded that penalty for the second goal. Gary, as we near halftime here, just kind of your thoughts on this first 45 minutes for both sides.
I think for Bob Lilly, it'll just be nothing but good vibes. He'll obviously remind them that they're going to have to be careful, that they're going to try and keep a clean sheet. They mustn't let Oakland get 1 goal back. All those good things which you expect. It's more Gavin Glinton's halftime talk and potential changes, especially early in the second half, because they've got to do something. Oakland Roots, it's been a very, very lackluster first half.
Maybe not what we expected entering the match today. Pittsburgh 3, Oakland 0. A stunning first 45 minutes. Robbie Mertz heavily involved throughout. He scored the second, able to get things going. Sean Suber, a phenomenal header for the third. And Junior Etu, who opened the scoring, a vitally important goal to end over 10 hours of scoreless soccer for Pittsburgh. We enter now into halftime. Halftime content to come. The 2 teams have a lot to think about as we enter our halftime break. Pittsburgh with a 3-0 edge over the Oakland Roots as we break for halftime. Some more halftime content to come in just a few moments.
Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Nice. A little salt, a little sweet.
And a little scratch.
Ah, the new big cash payout.
Top prizes of 500 grand.
You've been down this road before.
Let's just say I'm a road hog. Keep on scratching!
It's Sonesta of Pittsburgh's Awning and Shade Sale. Up to 50% off. Up to 50% off retractable awnings for your deck or patio. Up to 50% off retractable screens for any open area. Up to 50% off window, door, or porch awnings. Select from over 150 colors. Plus, get 0% financing for up to 84 months. Hurry and call. This offer ends Friday. Call 1-800-292-5594 or visit sonestaofpittsburgh.com.
Halftime is presented by the 84 Lumber Company. Our score at the break, it's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 3, the Oakland Roots 0. Some more halftime content to come. Let's hear more about the pathway to the pros for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
To the end of our 6th year now as a club. We currently have over 250 families, 16 teams this year, and the idea was to start an academy in the Connellsville area and then provide, local games and local leagues for those kids. And that's kind of evolved into some pretty good teams that we've got out there, and now we're competing in regional leagues and getting into regional events and national events with some teams. So it's kind of, it's gone beyond our original dreams for sure.
I've been playing for the East for little over 6 years now. I've been there a really long time, and I love my teammates. It's great to see people from high school and then into clubs, so you get to play against them and then with them, which I think is great. Our team chemistry is honestly better than ever. We grow closer every year, and it's a lot easier to play with teammates whenever you're really close off the field.
Well, Pittsburgh is bringing back live music to Highmark Stadium on August 3rd as they host Country in the City featuring David Nail, enjoying 3 hours of live music on August 3rd and the best location in Pittsburgh for live music. You can get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. We'll take one more break here in halftime. It's a stunning score at the break, a fantastic first 45 for Pittsburgh. What do Oakland have in store? Figure out later on. More halftime content to come.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes when we walk past. Anybody never lied, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I don't care. I paint the town red.
If you can survive this, it's going to make the whole story that much better.
The bright horses are broken free from the fields.
Danny Griffin! Oh, that's a wonderful captain's goal for the Riverhounds! Spins it front! No! Michi Angelina!
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Welcome back to Highmark. Halftime is presented by the 84 Lumber Company. Our score at the break, it's Pittsburgh 3, Oakland 0. We can begin to look ahead. It's a massive summer of soccer and some upcoming national TV games. For Pittsburgh, it's been a great game so far today. They're going to try and carry it forward to the next match against Hartford Athletic. That game on July 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern will be on ESPN2. A massive chance for two sides trying to push themselves up in that playoff race. For Oakland, their next match also coming up on a national TV network on CBS on July 21st at 4 p.m. Eastern. They had a massive game, a 3-2 win at Sacramento when they met last time out back in June. We'll see what that match has in store for us when Oakland next play. And on August the 3rd on CBS as well, Detroit City at home taking on Rhode Island FC. A lot of firsts this year for Rhode Island FC. A first time taking on Detroit, and it'll be a first time for them on CBS. Both two teams trying to keep their pushes into the playoffs going as well in the Eastern Conference. Loaded upcoming summer of soccer as well. We can see coming up here, starting off with Birmingham Legion and Rhode Island FC on the CBS Sports Network coming up on July 17th. Gary, for this one here, any games on this that stand out to you as a big one to watch out for over the next couple months?
Wow, there's so many big ones. Look at Lou City at home to Sac Republic. That should be a massive one for Oakland Root fans. They're going to host Sac Republic as well. Phoenix Rising, they've had some problems, had to fire their manager. They're at home to El Paso, a game you think they should win. Mind you, El Paso have also changed their coach. So, well, there's so much going on. Las Vegas Lights, by the way, away at Switchbacks. Haven't they come good last few games, Vegas? So, it's just an exciting league with so many good sides and exciting games.
A great wealth of sides, great diversity of teams that you'll see across all the networks in the coming months. We've got one more break. Coming up after this, we'll be able to look at highlights and get ourselves geared up for the second half. Pittsburgh with a fantastic first 45. They're up 3-0 over Oakland at the break.
At AHN, good heart care starts before you're just not feeling right. Before you say, it'll go away on its own. Before it doesn't. Because before an emergency, there's time to stop heart problems with a simple preventative heart check. At AHN, we see you.
Pittsburgh is our home. Check in with Thermo Twin. We are employee owned. Check in with Thermo Twin. Check in. Check in. Check in. Check in. Check in with Thermo Twin.
Check in with Thermo Twin for up to 25% off and 24 months free financing.
Check in with Thermo Twin.
Sometimes it's the little things that make the lasting memories. Explore the fun. Explore the outdoors. And escape to a place that can take you to new heights. Small destination. Big adventures. See what's waiting for you at explorealtoona.com.
Halftime presented by the 84 Lumber Company. Pittsburgh up 3-0 over the Roots. An immensely impressive first 45 minutes at home for Pittsburgh. Alongside Gary Bailey, I'm Jack Edwards as we get ourselves geared up for our second 45 minutes. Let's look at our first half highlights. Those are brought to you by Corona. We were wondering what kind of attacking display would we see for Pittsburgh, and it would come out very early on in this one. Robbie Mertz gets on the end of this. Just some brilliant bit of footwork here to dance through a few, plays it off to Bradley Sample, plays it off to Junior Etu, and he fires in the back of the net.
Yeah, Robbie Mertz sets this whole thing up, but what a good finish from Etu. Look at this one drag over, another drag over, goes way past Nabil Hackshaw, gets an overload, Bradley Sample gets time, and of course, Junior Etu arrives. Look at the finish here, one touch and absolutely hammers that past Paul Blanchett.
That was the first goal of the match to open things up, ending over 660 minutes of scoreless soccer. Just a few minutes later, again, Mertz heavily involved. Gets to the end of this one, his cross into the box, Kizza almost able to get that one towards goal.
Yeah, Nabil Hackshaw does well just to get in the way because good ball in, decent header, was on target, but big Nabil Hackshaw blocks this and the pressure kept coming. Here's the handball, Junior Etu there to Marcus with the handball. Junior Etu having a brilliant first. Up steps Robbie Mertz down the middle with height. Almost impossible to save unless you stand still.
And now the 45th minute, we were wondering 2-0 was great. How about 3-0? The initial delivery knocked away. Mertz gets here. And again, Sample with 2 first half assists. Clever dinked ball in. And what a header by Sean Suber.
Fantastic header by Suber. Nicely recycled here. Bodies moved. He was able to lose his marker, Suber. But to put that in the top corner from that angle, that's a brilliant finish.
Halftime stats there for you. Massively important 3 goals there. Possession swinging a little bit in the way of Oakland, but a really important performance from Pittsburgh. What kind of was the difference for you, Gary, in terms of that performance from matches previous to have a 3-0 lead at the half?
Look at the shots on target, 0 for Roots, even though they had 2/3 possession. So Pittsburgh created the chances on goal. They took the chances, more importantly. I'll give you the expected goals. For Pittsburgh, 1.44, which is really good. They got slightly more than that with 3 goals.
Yeah.
For Oakland Roots, 0.00. And to have a 45 minutes where you haven't had one single tiny effort, they have to make changes, they have to do something. I'm just curious to see what Gavin Clinton is going to do.
So we begin to get ourselves ready for our second 45 minutes. There will be some changes for both teams as we near into the second half between these two sides. Canardo Forbes will be coming into the match. We were wondering, what kind of impact was he going to have so far this season? 18 appearances, still waiting for his first goal, his first assist. So important across this history for Pittsburgh. Just over the last couple of seasons, he'll be coming on now at halftime, looking to be coming on for Emmanuel Johnson. So a change there that feels like more so about controlling possession and being able to kind of just control the next few moments of the match.
Yeah, you're right. I think to control it, you're 3-0 up. You want to control things. Emmanuel Johnson, as we said, just has pushed and shoved and done a lot of hard work, but just really hasn't been creative enough. And Bob Lilly, I think, just saying, you know what, we're gonna sit tightly on this 3-0 lead, and if they throw too many bodies forward, we'll catch them on the counter attack. My big question is, what will Gavin Glinton do? We don't know as yet, but we're going to find out soon.
Beyond just substitutions for Oakland, what tweaks would you like to see from the Roots when you've got no expected goals? You've been really kind of just completely kept out of any real attacking moments despite having the edge of possession.
I think besides changes, it's an attitude, it's a desire to get on the ball, win the 50-50s, get ball into the opponent's box. It's just, for a team that's been playing so well, brilliantly well to be fair, it just really has been a disappointing first half, but they have 45 minutes to get back in this match, and they're very capable of doing it.
We are back underway for our second 45 minutes. The Black Kits heading from right to left. It'll be the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and the Whites, the visitors, as a free kick goes against the hosts. It will be the Oakland Roots. You also see that change made there. Lindo Mfeka coming out of the match. Ricosi Donaciano coming on in his place. One change apiece for the two teams at halftime, and Mfeka, who had assists in the last two games, coming off there. Also Trayvon Reed coming in for Jessiel Cedeno, who not a massively influential first 45 minutes on his end from the midfielder. And Reed comes in.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Trayvon Reed is such a good finisher. He's a dangerous player. You want him on the front foot going forward. Now, yes, do you take a risk in defense? Maybe, perhaps so.
You're down 3-0, though.
Exactly, 100%. 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 doesn't make any difference, really. You want to get back in the game. And having Trayvon Reed on and Donaciano fresh, maybe that will give them the impulse they want.
It's a turnover in possession and a foul from behind. That might result in a yellow card. It will indeed. Third Roots player now booked. Just coming together from behind after the turnover possession. Mertz did well to win it and got ahead of the defending Ndjai, who is booked.
It's a little bit of a push in the back, isn't there? Maybe if the referee feels it's denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, then the yellow card does make sense. But then again, they have to be careful now with 3 players on yellows. You don't want to get a sending off when you're 3-0 down.
Would impact that upcoming match against Sacramento back at home. Moved out wide. Here's Rodriguez. Etu coming in with a very strong challenge. Helps the side win the ball back. Walty. Looking at his heels was Danny Gomez. Out of play for a Riverhounds throw in. Hearing Gavin Glinton referencing back the yellow card that one of his players received. That touch there from Mertz, touch heavy. Looks like with this tweak in shape with the sub by Forbes and Mertz kind of playing just off of Kiza. Just a 3-4-3 shape now for the hosts. Heavy touch, almost taken advantage of by Forbes, but it comes back to Riley, played up pitch, cleared away. That ball bouncing every which way. It falls to Canardo Forbes. Free, letting play continue there. Here's Walty. Near side, Etu. His delivery into the box, fires it across. And that's Ndjai who just tries to get something on it to push it out for the corner. He does that successfully.
That's a fantastic ball whipped in. It's whipped in with pace. It's whipped in between goalkeeper and defenders. In the end, Ndjai, as you say, doing really well just to chest it up. But that's the sort of ball that forwards love to get in the box. Doesn't give the defenders much time to react, and just a little bit too high there for the near post, and Robbie Mertz hadn't got in at the far post. But again, good play from Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
It'll be Mertz with this corner kick. Curls it into the box. It's a free kick going against the Riverhounds. It's going to be a yellow card. Melo Sumanu booked there. Going down to the box, Babacar Najai. First Riverhounds player booked. We can see the challenge again here.
28 there are Simone. Let's just have a look and see if there is any. Oh, there's nothing there, really, is there? Again, you know, when there's no VAR, you've only got to go down, and referees are more or less forced to give something.
Yeah.
Well, Simone is saying I did nothing, and I tend to agree with him. I don't think there was anything there. But again, referees, if players, and I'm not saying that absolutely nothing happened there,
yeah,
we could be at a bad angle, but if players act, there's nothing a referee can do, because you haven't got eyes in the back of your head. You can't see if players are being hit or not. Only with VAR can you slow it down and see. So it's very, very difficult for referees, and they just have to do the best they can do under the circumstances. We saw that one in the first half where Paul Blanchett grabbed the striker's arm and put it to his face. I mean, seriously.
That's one of those where in a VAR world, you know, that's immediately tossed out. But if the referee only sees the arm hitting the face, you know, it looks quite silly, and that's going to be a foul going against Sherry. If it looks silly, but it results in a red card for the opposing team, sometimes you got to take those dark arts and those fine margins to the fullest extent.
Kevin Clinton, just to repeat more or less what he said, he had two players go for the ball, they bump into each other, one goes down, so it's a foul.
That's kind of what you were talking about, Gary, where if a player goes down, the referee, there is a pressure there to kind of almost reward it.
There's a dark arts of football, and you've seen quite a bit of it in Copa America, and it gets niggly and nasty. That between Uruguay and Colombia, there was a player sent off, but he was grabbed, and when I say he was grabbed, it wasn't just his shirt that was grabbed. No doubt his skin was grabbed, and he turned and whacked him and got sent off. You know, it's part of the game. You just got to learn to deal with it.
Here's Mertz on the turnover. 4 options for the Riverhounds in the attack. Played in, it's a clever ball to Blackstock. Into the box, the header by Forbes, and it's his first on the season. It's 4 for Pittsburgh. What a day it's turned out to be. Canardo Forbes latched onto the end of that one.
What's that old saying? It doesn't rain, but it pours. I mean, seriously, you go 6 matches without scoring. No wonder he's smiling. And you get 4 in the space of 50-odd minutes. But Robbie Mertz, he's had a wonderful game today. Nice little ball put here to Blackstock. He puts in a very, very good cross. And King Kenny comes in, times his run perfectly. But they've put good quality balls into the box, have Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and they've taken their opportunities when they've come by. And I can only assume that Bob Lilly is thinking, guys, could you not have found this a few weeks earlier? Look what you put me through. But 4 goals against a very, very good and in-form Oakland Roots side. It's just an amazing game at times, soccer, and so difficult to understand. But King Kenny is back.
36 years of age. He had a goal and 10 assists in 2023. He's got his first goal contribution of 2024. Look at that scoring summary for you. Atu in the 12th, Mertz in the 30th, Super in the 45th, and Forbes moments ago in the 52nd.
But with all these goals, would you believe it, they're still bottom of the goal scorers charts for the entire USL. The only thing is they're joint bottom now. They were on their own. It just shows you how far off they were in terms of goals scored. But wow, what a, here we are, 52nd minute. I mean, it's just, how would you, if you'd have said to Bob Lilly in the chat we had with him, you'd be 4-0 up after 50 minutes. He'd go, really?
Yeah.
Come on. Here we are. Incredible.
Road back for Oakland, which was incredibly hard at the end of the first half. Looks nearly impossible now. 4-0 against the Pittsburgh team that you mentioned, Gary. Despite the attacking struggles, despite their position in the table, this is not a team that really ever is easy to score goals against. And with a 4-0 edge, you don't want to say a certainty in any sport. Feels about as close as you can to get one.
Yeah, it'll be very unlikely that this team could concede. Oh, really a fifth. And to be fair to Gavin Glinton, he said more or less what we were saying earlier.
Yeah,
he said
he knew the threats.
You look at the data coming out of Pittsburgh, this team is a very decent team. Maybe not as good as last year, but a very, very good side. He said they've just been incredibly unlucky, and we take nothing for granted.
Rodriguez pushes it along to this near side. It's Tamakis. So plays it off. Well, let's dive into some of those numbers for Pittsburgh. In these last 6 games, they scored 0 goals, but they had about 5.5 expected goals. They had the near identical number of expected goals against, 5.58 against 5.574. They scored none. Their opponents scored 6. Today they got about 1.5 expected goals, and they've scored 4. Funny old sport.
Absolutely. Just wonder if Oakland are going to make some more changes now at 4-0. Do you not just risk it and just have a go?
They will be bringing on Niall Logue and Etzger Cruz as Napo Matsoso will be making way. Logue, the defensive option. Cruz, the more attack-minded one. Matsoso making way off the field. Deal Hackshaw as they make subs. Number 3 and 4 on the day. So Cruz, Logue into the match.
And I think it's also a good time for rotation, for getting players on that you might not normally put on. And you say, you know what, the game is gone at 4-0. So get on there and just have a run, get yourself into the swing of things. We might need you in the weeks to come.
Long throw into the box, headed away by Suber, and they'll have a chance to do it all over again on that left-hand side. Suber, the first header again, flicked along by Kiza. Forbes gets to it. You can push that forward now to Mertz. He gets across the defender, a tug of the jersey. Referee will play advantage. Bernardo Forbes, who scored moments ago. He tries to play that ball forward. It's blocked. Referee will probably pull that play back and end up giving the yellow card after Robbie Mertz had a good chunk of his jersey pulled. Niall Logue came into the match and moments later got really involved with Mertz.
I'm just wondering from Gavin Glinton's point of view what he would want out of the match from now. Obviously, you don't want it to get worse. There's some pressure coming there. You don't want it to work. You'd love to score a goal or two and at least show that you were in the match. And also, you want to avoid any sendings off because it's going to impact you in future games.
Definitely.
So there's still work to be done here for Oakland Roots. If you look at his record so far, Glinton, since he took over, 7 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. So it becomes 7 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. It's still a very, very good run since he took over.
It's going to be a foul going against Pittsburgh. And the referee, I think, will pull play back for the earlier issue.
Looking at the live table with this win, and we assume it'll be a win, it's still an assumption. Pittsburgh will go above Hartford Athletic, and they host Hartford next game. A win there would take them, in theory, and depending on a whole bunch of other results, 1 point behind Rhode Island, who are currently in the live table in 8th spot. So a win against Hartford, as you can see there, they're 1 point ahead now in the live table, Pittsburgh on 18. A win takes them alongside North Carolina, a point behind the last playoff place, Rhode Island. And of course, these results could all change, but at least you're back in the hunt. You're only a point or two away from getting in a playoff spot if they beat Hartford. It's a massive match coming up next at Highmark Stadium.
So there was no yellow card given there to Niall Logue, and that resulted in a lengthy discussion between the referee and Robbie Mertz as to why there wasn't a yellow card, but referee opting not to have any extra action. The shot from distance, it's the first shot of the match, but it's off target. Babacar Najai just gets the shot total for Oakland up from 0 to 1. But that one always a speculative effort, well wide of Eric Dick's goal. Riverhounds fans, you can join us on Saturday, July 20th when the Hounds welcome Hartford to town. You can get your tickets today. Header along. Nice touching Kiza, so it's a throw in for Oakland. And Chet going long. Suber heads it away. Blackstock in the area to keep it in play. Does well to do so. Here's Mertz. Rodriguez got to head to it. Mertz, though, coming back. Puts a foot in. Here's Tamakis. Blackstock. Here's Kizza. Forbes making the run forward. Mertz looking for him. He may have been in an offside position. So Forbes backs away. And actually the header there forces Cruz into a sprint to keep it in play. Tamakis, rather. Good work in the end to play through that press, but risky from Oakland. Good drop of the shoulder and the sprint forward. Headed away by Etsu. Tamakis, the delivery hits the chest, rather the hand of Etsu, and it's a free kick right on the edge of the box.
Fortunately for the Riverhounds, a couple of steps back, and that's a penalty. It's all been going their way today. Look at this again, Tamakis. Haven't seen enough of him getting forward. Such a good player. Yeah, clear handball.
Yep.
Such a good player when he bombs forward and so good at putting balls into the box and scoring goals himself. Just haven't seen him enough in this match until now.
Free kick in a really intriguing position. Could try a shot. Several options in the box for delivery. Left-footed delivery in, and Eric Dick backpedaling, gets two hands to it, it brings it down.
I think that's his first save, is it?
It is.
First important save anyway. The goalkeeper tested, comes good.
Short run up from Ajay. That's finding that top left corner.
I don't know if he was trying to put that in for a header or actually trying to go for goal. It's a difficult one to beat the goalkeeper from that angle. He might have been trying to get that on the end of one of the strikers' heads. But better from Oakland Roots. It's easy to say at 4-0 down because there's nothing left for Pittsburgh to play for except, you know, to keep the score as it is. So Oakland Roots should be able to do something on the front foot.
Mertz, not a foul there. Ajay, who is on the yellow, has to be careful. You mentioned that's one of the big focuses for Oakland. Yes, you want to have a strong performance in these final 30 minutes, but probably the biggest thing would be no extra action in terms of a red card suspension for the next game, a big one against Sacramento.
Yeah. And I think the senior players would have probably had a quick word with each other and said, hey, everybody just calm down. Don't get upset, don't get in people's faces, just don't do anything silly. If we can get one back, fantastic. We get two, even better. So this is where in-game management comes in, and the more experienced players know that this game is gone effectively. They just don't want to make it, as you say, worse for the next game by picking up unnecessary reds. Robbie Mertz, by the way, fantastic. What a brilliant game he's had.
First time scoring 4 goals in a single game since all the way back August of 2023. That was a 4-3 win against Hartford. 4-0 today. Just a incredibly dominant display through the hour.
It's just crazy because if it was last season when they're sitting top of the East, you go, oh, come on,
4 goals,
absolutely at home. But the team hadn't scored for 6 games. And poor Bob Lilly, I think he got to the point where he couldn't explain to us why. He just kept saying they're not taking their chances. We're creating the chances, they're just not taking them. I don't know what to do.
Because it's unexplainable. When you have nearly 24 expected goals and you have 11 actual goals, it's so hard to describe one thing to work on, as that's a free kick going against the Riverhounds. Oakland will take it quick.
It's not like the players are bad players. I mean, maybe not the same quality as last season in 1 or 2 spots, but still good enough to score, you know, plenty of goals. And look at that, expected goals, Oakland Roots still 0.0. I haven't seen many matches where it's absolutely 0. It really is a poor effort by an Oakland Roots team. And all I'll say is, given how well they've played, 7 wins from the last 9, maybe they're entitled to an off day. I don't think Gavin Glinton will allow them a second off day. I think he will go nuts if they put in this performance again.
Oakland making the long trek, just the second ever meeting here at Highmark against Pittsburgh. That was a 3-1 win 2 years ago now, and one of their last road matches coming in California, you know, big old country that we live in, but at Orange County, at Monterey Bay, at Sacramento, those last 3 away games, that travel still keeps you out on the West Coast. This one moving across a time zone, there are always those impacts when you have to deal with the travel like you have to do in America.
Yeah, after Sac Republic, they're away at Miami, so that's another long trip for them. But everyone's got those trips. You've got to just deal with them. And one of the coaches we spoke to just said, hey, I don't accept excuses. You know what? It's 90 minutes. And I'm trying to think which coach it was, because he said there's 90 minutes on the pitch. You're privileged to be able to play soccer to earn a living. He said, you want a really tough job? You know, go down the mines or shovel coal or whatever is a real blue-collar job these days. He said, that's a proper job. He said, being at a till for 12 hours a day. He said, you're going to come play soccer for 90 minutes and you complain you got jet lag. So I had a good cackle with that, because I thought, you know what, he's got a point.
It is a good perspective. That's going to be a free kick. A bit of a heavy challenge there by Blackstock.
You know who it was? Morton Carlson at Orange County. Yeah. I love that attitude, because I think sometimes players get away with too many excuses for not performing, when really it is a privilege to play sport for your profession. So we see a little late dive in there from Blackstock.
It's a free kick here for Oakland now, and I mentioned just the struggles to get really anything of major substance. There was the 2 free kicks by Najai. One of them, a save, was more or less on target. The one from way downtown that went way downtown. Delivery in by Najai, and again claimed by Dick.
Good goalkeeping, good solid hands there, claims that. A lot of white shirts around him, so it wasn't necessarily easy. The goalkeeper doing well. He'll be so chuffed if he can keep a clean sheet here. Clearly, with no wins in 11, he hasn't had many of those. I think the last one was at North Carolina, so.
It was a 0-0 draw because they didn't score. So keep the clean sheet, you do your job as a defense, but don't come away with 3 points. Kizza dueling for that. Forbes gets a toe in to get there first. It's dragged back. He bumps in with some potential subs that will come on in a moment. Throw-in will be pulled back. Not totally sure why.
Looks like Bob Lilly's lining up a couple more changes. And again, when you're 4-0 up, you can afford to bring on fringe players and say, hey, go on, have a run out.
Exactly.
Feel part of the squad. You know, we've pretty much got it wrapped up now, you would think.
Pierre Caillet with the 4th official currently. If not now, will be coming on in just a few moments. Made 6 appearances from the bench so far this season, the defender from France. Bit of a heavy pass. Blackstock gets there first. He has 1 assist already today. Fires that one himself, and it's saved by Blanchette. He's had a tough job today trying to stop some of these chances. Just a heavy touch there, turned over. Now it's Forbes. Heavy touch himself, but it comes to Walty. Forbes lifts it up to Blackstock, and his touch again lets him down a little bit. Got a sequence of some picturesque touches, and it ends in a goal kick for the Roots.
By the way, Blackstock, when he had that chance, he could have squared the ball and almost certainly had a 5th goal. So I guess Oakland Roots glad that he didn't.
Maybe that is Bob Lilly's punishment for that, bringing in Blackstock off, bringing on Pierre Caillet. Danny Gomez will be coming off, making way. Gagi Marvelashvili. Coming on, the 5th and final change from Oakland.
And for the Riverhounds, checking out number 7, Langston Blackstock.
So Blackstock makes way. There's Caillet coming in. His 7th appearance so far this season. He's with New England Revolution 2 for the past 3 seasons. Making 43 appearances, scoring 4 goals across that time. Ball over the top, headed away. Here's Canardo Forbes. Kiza trying to drag that one across. Blanchette can't fall on it, and it's tapped home. It's 5. Junior Etu with the brace. And Pittsburgh back to goal-scoring ways in a massive way.
Incredible, incredible. 5-0 after 6 games. I'm going to keep saying it, 6 games without a goal. Junior Eto's had a fantastic match every which way. Cam Riley there just has the ball taken off his toes. King Kenny puts it through for Kiza. Blanchette there. Oh, it's just an error from the goalkeeper. He's got there eventually, hasn't he? And he doesn't make that many errors, Blanchette. He's normally a solid keeper. There he's got 2 hands and he's just somehow totally missed the ball. It just sums up their day when your goalkeeper and normally one of your more solid players makes a basic error like that. Just sums up what a bad day at the office it's been for Oakland Roots.
He scored the first, he's scored the 5th.
And he won the penalty for the second.
So it's going to be a hard contest for man of the match in this one. See who will take home that honor, just with the litany of great performances we've seen so far from the Riverhounds. And it really just is one of those days, Gary. You said that when Blanchette just can't bring that bouncy ball down, and he's got his gloves off here. I'm not sure if he's going to have an issue here.
I think he's trying to blame his boots. Maybe he slipped.
It took an awkward bounce.
Not happy, but just bear in mind you're on a yellow card, and if you start throwing things around, referee might just misinterpret what you're doing. So, and Paul Blanchette needs to take a deep breath.
They have used all 5 substitutions, so can't even go to Timothy Sorrell, who is the backup option here. Can't quite figure out what the issue is with his boots here.
Just wondering if he slipped when he went for that ball. Have a look here, because he goes for it there, and maybe he felt that his foot slipped, and that's why. But even if your foot slips,
I mean,
you
it
still
slips there a little again.
Still got to hold on to the ball, but
he takes them off right after and just shucks them.
I hope he didn't hit someone.
I know.
On the head with it.
Again, you mentioned he's already been booked once for dissent in the match earlier today after the first goal, and he's got issues with his boots right now. He's got none on at the moment, no gloves on.
Look, it's a bad day at the office. When that happens, everybody gets uptight, and I think referee Nabil Ben Salah just letting that go. Because if you throw an object into the crowd and hit someone, that would be an immediate yellow card. So you've got to be a little bit careful when you're on a yellow already.
So as we wait for Paul Blanchette to get his boots and gloves back on, we can have some subs now again here. Danny Ruvira and Babacar Dieng will be coming into the match, making way. Robbie Mertz, and should be making off to raucous applause. Edward Kiza didn't get on the score sheet today, but was involved in that 5th goal. Babacar Dieng, Danny Ruvira, both coming in now. Now with some blue boots, Paul Blanchette.
Hear all the crowd noise. I mean, for those fans at Highmark, it's been a while since they've seen a really good performance at home. They must be absolutely loving this. And for the Oakland Roots fans watching on TV, they'll be thinking, you know what, let's just move on to the next match. Yeah. This one has just been a horror show.
As we wait, Paul Blanchette just about ready to continue this match. A bit of a pause between that goal and resuming play. 2.11 expected goals for Pittsburgh. 5 goals today. How important is confidence in this sport, Gary? When you've had that first goal by Etu smashing it home, you know, obviously parallel universe, that chance hasn't scored, such a different game today. But finally getting that first one, how big a goal is that when you've had such a bad stretch?
I think it's massive, because if you go to the previous match against Monterey Bay, Edward Kiza has a good chance first half. We showed it in the build-up to this match. And he doesn't tuck it away. And Bob Liddy said, you know what, they've got to hit the back of the net, because then at 0-0, we're always vulnerable to them having one chance, which is all they got, Monterey Bay, one chance in the last minute. And this one, Etu ball goes in. Then you think, okay, things are going well. And then you get the penalty. And so they'll take from this so much, Riverhounds. They'll be so positive now going into this Hartford match. But what Bob Lilly will almost certainly tell them is that, hey, one win doesn't get us into the playoffs. We've got to take whatever we've done today, build on it, and take it into the Hartford match.
Well, the competition is heating up this summer on CBS. Sacramento Republic FC. We look for revenge against a red-hot Oakland Roots side. Tough match, of course, today. A big bounce back for them potentially on Sunday, July 21st at 4 p.m. Eastern. And on August 3rd at 4 p.m., the surging Detroit City FC hosts newcomer Rhode Island FC for the first time as the USL Summer of Soccer continues on the CBS network. That hits the back of Emil Bensala. Taps his chest, says, my apologies for blocking that counter. These matches always take an interesting shape when it gets to a scoreline like this with still a solid chunk of time left. You have to play it out, even though the result is, I mean, at this point, all but a certainty. Flicked away. Flicked along. Moved to the near side. It's Rodriguez to the back post, and it goes over everything. It's a goal kick.
That sums up the match for Oakland Roots. It's a poor ball in. You've got bodies who've worked really hard and run their socks off to get in the box, and you go and put that ball way over the top. And these players, the quality they've shown in the last 9 matches with 7 wins has been top class, especially Rodriguez, 3 goals in 3. Wonderful goal at Monterey Bay. So you know what? Every team gets an off day. Oakland Roots must just, you know, get back on the bus, we'd say, or get back on the plane and forget about it, move on. That's going to be Gavin Clinton's job. And for Pittsburgh, 11 games without a win, and suddenly you get a win. Happy days. I wonder if Bob Lilly will give them a day off.
Score 5, and he says, all right, back in training the next day. Still got work to do. It's a turnover nearly there. Osamano stays with it. Well, let's look at it from an Oakland perspective. You know, when you have a match like this, it's 5-0. So many things go wrong. And you're Gavin Clinton. Do you just completely say, all right, forget about it, clean slate? Or do you try and meticulously dive into a game like this where really it feels like everything just fell apart?
Oh, no, absolutely. You break it down and see what went wrong where, but you don't throw players out on one bad match. When you've got 7 wins in 9, as a coach, you might tweak for the next match against Sac Republic at home. You might tweak 1 or 2 positions, but in general, you'll say, you know what, guys, you had a really bad day. Yeah. You didn't create anything. Are we still sitting at 0 as expected goals for Oakland Roots? Because
0.03.
I mean, that is effectively 0. You know, that's those sort of numbers. It's just a horrendous performance by Oakland Roots, and as a manager you can't pick one player out. I don't think there's one player who's had a particularly bad match. They've all struggled. What they should have done was taken a cruise and not turned up. And so I think as a coach, you know what you say to them, I'll give you one more chance next week against Czech Republic, and then if you don't perform, then I'll start making big changes.
Great atmosphere here at home for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, up 5-0. Well, they'll have a home match to look ahead to. You can tune in to ESPN2 for a USL Summer of Soccer showdown between some Eastern Conference rivals. Riverhounds taking on Hartford Athletic. They both battle to stay in the race for playoff contention. That's coming up Saturday, July 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. 1 week from now, Bob Lilly, you have to imagine once full-time hits, we'll have a very happy discussion with his group compared to weeks past.
Well, compared to weeks past, yes, but I'm not so sure how happy Bob is, because he'll find something in this. He should have scored 6, or not because he's trying to be funny. It's because he pushes for perfection all the time. But to be fair, I mean, I don't think he can find anything wrong with this. His point will probably be, whatever you did today, you take it into the next match. And by the way, I think there's a number of teams who will be watching or will see this result around Pittsburgh and will go, okay, we're in trouble now. Hartford being amongst them, North Carolina, Rhode Island, even as high as Birmingham and Loudoun and Detroit City, they'll know what this team is capable of, and they'll know that they can put a run of 3-4 wins together. So things are going to get extremely, well, they were tight. They're going to get even tighter in those final playoff spots in the East.
Curled into the box, over everybody, headed away. Be a throw in here to come for Pittsburgh. They're preparing to bring on Jake Lent-Koop. He'll be coming on for Ilal Osumanu. The next opportunity they can make that sub. Moved out wide. Etu already with 2 goals today. Earns the corner near side.
And a penalty that he made.
There's the penalty as well.
Sorry, I got to keep adding that in.
3 of the goals he was directly involved in. Here's Lent-Koop with a discussion with Bob Lilly. This will be his first USL Championship appearance as a professional. A big moment for him. He started the match against Tulsa in the US Open Cup. He's a player down for Oakland. This is the other side that neither side would want to see in the final 10 minutes is any sending offs or any issues for either player.
And I think this result also, besides proving that Pittsburgh do have quality players, Gavin Glinton's point about nothing's guaranteed, we're second, but we could drop to 7th, 8th very quickly. I think he'll say to his players, you see what I mean? You know, every team we play is a tough match. If you're off by just a few %, you can get hammered like is happening here today.
It's corner here. Curled in deep into the box, headed down and wide. Again, on the end of that one was Pierre Caillet.
He's got to head that back into traffic, doesn't he, Caillet? I don't know if he was trying to squeeze it in at the near post, but just head it back in the middle and see what happens.
Coming out will be Ilal Osumanu. Strong performance. Clean sheet for his side through 80 minutes. And Jake Lent-Koop, Rio Rancho, New Mexico native, making his first USL Championship appearance. That's what this kind of match affords the opportunity to bring him in. He's made 1 professional appearance up to this point. He's got a chance now in the USL Championship for the very first time.
23 years of age. We wish him well. This could be the start of a, hopefully for him, a long career at a high level.
Lent-Koop spent 4 seasons with Messiah University, the D3 level, the NCAA. 2-time first-team All-American. There's a free kick right in the middle of the park. He'll be slided into the defense. First-team All-MAC Commonwealth in 2023. He's got 10 minutes plus stoppage time here at Highmark. Whipped out wide, out of play, throw in.
Fans, we'd like to thank Piata Italian Street Food for helping.
Right now, the sort of energy has gone out of the match because Oakland know they can't get back from this. Pittsburgh are quite happy with a 5-0 scoreline, and why wouldn't they be? So for Pittsburgh, it's give this young man a chance, and I think other than that, just keep things tight and see the match out. And for Oakland, as you said, don't get any red cards, don't do anything silly, no unnecessary injuries as 2 of their players collide.
The referee will stop play for that, and I think there will be no real complaints from Pittsburgh. Like, what are you stopping a counter to get a 6th goal? Najai down, feeling his head there. Coming together in the middle of the park.
Again, it just sort of sums up their day, doesn't it? Their own players colliding into each other. It just really has been a day when nothing's gone right for them.
Oh. Tough one, nasty one. Coming together there between Donaciano and Najai. Now, of course, they've used their 5 subs, but if needed, can make a concussion substitute. But of course, would want to avoid that if they can. Ilya Alexeyev is the only remaining outfield option to be brought off the bench for Oakland. Made all 5 changes.
If you look at Oakland's defeats this season, most of them have been by 1 goal. They lost 2-1 at Monterey Bay. They lost 1-0 at Colorado. They lost 2-1 at New Mexico. They lost 1-0 in the Open Cup. They lost 3-1 at Detroit. So, you know, there's a couple of goals there. Lost 2-0 at home to Colorado. But, you know, 2 goals is about it as we see that substitution. But they have not experienced anything like this sort of result this season. It really has been, and will be, I'm sure, a massive blow to them, but one they're going to have to get over very quickly.
So Ilya Alexeyev will come on for Najai, who was on a yellow card. of course, had that coming together. So they'll hope that no lingering impacts there. He came into the left back role. Justin Rasmussen was out with a head injury that he sustained last match. So they want to avoid, they have a relatively healthy squad at the moment, getting injuries in one particular position. As Walty is fouled. It's a free kick, and Conrado Forbes takes it quickly, but I think it may have been slightly further forward than the referee wanted it to be taken. Walty will take it from more or less the same spot, but the flag goes up for offside. It's going to be a yellow card, actually, for kicking the ball away. So a relatively unnecessary card to get there. Headed away. Rivera gets a foot in. I believe it was Rivera who was booked. We'll get you confirmation on that yellow card. Final 5 minutes in what has turned out to be a magnificent day for the hosts. Played along, Forbes over the top. Offside, Rivera, rather Walty knew he was, so he'll back away from the ball played forward.
By the way, that 5th goal has taken Pittsburgh away from being the bottom lowest scorers. That now sits with El Paso at 15. Pittsburgh now have 16. Hartford also have 15. So all these goals of adding to confidence, getting away, like first win in 11 and climbing up the goals scored table and reducing the deficit between expected goals and actual goals. Suddenly your stats start to look a little bit better than they were, and that also adds to the confidence. But again, the question will be, can they take it in to the Hartford match at home at Highmark next week? They get 3 points there, and they're on the verge of making a playoff spot.
It's a handball, and it's a free kick for Pittsburgh. What is the takeaway in the attacking end for Pittsburgh here? Because it feels like they're doing a lot of the same things they were these previous weeks, but it's just finding the back of the net. So what's the takeaway there?
I think little moments of skill, like Robbie Mertz's double drag with the ball there that bought some space. He beat 2 defenders. You know, Etu's finish was a quality finish. I think that's what Bob Lilly's been waiting for, the quality on the end of the chances. And that can be a lot, can be down to confidence. And it's not coming from the strikers. You know, Keyser didn't score, but it's, well, eventually. No, he didn't.
Forbes. It was
Forbes, yeah. So it's all come from midfield and defense.
Here is Conrado Forbes again, gets onto this one. The run being made by DN. 2 goals for Etu in that wingback position. Mertz from the penalty spot. Suber, center back, roaming forward. Forbes playing as one of the 10s, a midfielder. Maybe an offsides there for Sample, but it's put out of play, so it's going to be a corner.
And I just wonder whether Bob Lilly will play 2 up front next week, or maybe just Keyser up front. He struggled to get much from Emmanuel Johnson. That's now 10 games played, 0 goals. So maybe he prefers to, and he thinks he believes in his midfield who can score goals.
Aiden O'Toole will be coming into the match.
It's 5 subs, so is one of those a concussion sub?
That's the exact question I had. They've made 3 subs periods in the second half. It's curled into the box, claimed by Blanchett. Rolls this one out. So O'Toole hasn't come into the match yet. You would assume that would have to be. There was the 1 change made at halftime. Conrado Forbes came on. There was the 81st minute change, Lent Coop coming in. Rivera and DN were 1 sub period, the 2 players coming on. And then Kaye coming on in the 68th minute. So 3 sub periods to make 4 changes and 5 total players.
Yes, 5 players, which is your maximum.
Yes.
Unless there's a concussion sub.
So don't know what Aiden O'Toole is doing there unless there is a player.
Unless someone's going to bump his head and go down and claim he's got concussion.
That's the part of the game where you worry that no one does that, where it's just, oh, I have a bit of a head issue. And it's like, who's going to say otherwise? And it's a concussion sub. But there is just 1 outfield player left, and it is O'Toole, and he is preparing to come into the match. But again, not totally sure how. But here's Forbes on the turnover. Clipped from behind. Or was he not? Oakland now. The shot from distance. That one sliced just wide. Nearly a goal. So they will make the change. Luke Biasi will be coming out of the match. Coming in will be Aiden O'Toole.
For Pittsburgh, checking out number 13.
He's had a few bumps on the head, Luke Biasi, in this match. I wonder if he's claiming that one of those is bothering him.
Number 10, Aiden.
Well, Oakland have made 6 changes. One of those was the concussion sub for Babacar Najai. Well, we assumed it was, at least. Does that impact the opposing team's subs that they can make?
Good point. If one team gets an extra sub, I think you're right. The other team automatically gets, correct?
That's what we're operating with here. Not that it's going to have a massive impact on the result of our match here today. As we enter into the 90th minute. What's your guess for stoppage time here, Gary? Will they go actual stoppage time with Blanchette's 3 minutes he needed to get the new gloves and all the goals?
I think the less the better for both sides.
It's one of those moments where no one really wants to go into a 50-50 too hard, and it's kind of just minding shop until we get to full time. Long ball forward. As we enter into stoppage time, it will be 2 minutes.
Additional 2 minutes of
over the top.
time.
Dien
That's an extra 2 minutes.
fires that over the goal. Not 6 today.
By the way, poor Blanchette slipped there with his new boots on, so I wonder what he would have said if that ball ended up in the back of the net.
We would have been waiting for the next set of boots.
To be thrown into the crowd.
Yeah. What an interesting game. 5 goals for Pittsburgh. Just, if you were to say this before the match to Bob Lilly, to either of us, 5-0, there's no chance you're thinking it's 5-0 the way the hosts.
Just one word for me, unexpected.
Yeah.
Just did not see this coming at all. Not with Oakland Roots playing as well as they have. I thought maybe Pittsburgh could sneak a win at home. I thought Oakland Roots are more than capable of getting a win on the road. But a hammering like this?
Yeah. Talked about expected goals a lot. There have been some unexpected goals. The 5 for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. But does this turn Pittsburgh's season around? I think that's the only question that the Hounds fans are saying. You know, one win like this, fantastic, but
it's only 3 points. It's a great performance. Still 3 points.
100% correct. So can we do it next week against Hartford? Can we do it the week after? Can we keep this going and get ourselves into a sort of playoff spot? Because after Hartford, it's Loudoun at home, so it's another home match. And if they get 2 wins there, they should be in a playoff place. Then it's Sac Republic away. Then the tricky matches kick in. So if you can't win your home matches against Hartford and Loudoun, you're not going to pick up much on the road against Sac Republic. It'll be very difficult to. So these next 2 home matches are so crucial for Pittsburgh.
We were talking to Bob Lilly, and they looked at the month of July as 4 home games. Let's try and get max points used as a kickstart to the season. Well, obviously, they lost to Monterey Bay. A tough way to start the month. But that will do it for this match here today. A dream performance for Pittsburgh. 3 points, courtesy of 5 goals. A dominant display against a very strong Oakland side.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done, Pittsburgh. It's been a really, really tough run. 11 games without a win. Yep, first win since May the 4th. But what a win. Robbie Mertz, superb. Junior Eto, fantastic. Bradley Sample with a couple of assists. It really has been a fantastic match for them in a season that's offered so little. And tough for Oakland Roots. You know what? 7 wins from the last 9, now becomes 7 wins from the last 10. It's still a great run for Gavin Glinton, but he's got to get back on the winning trail next match.
Let's take a look at tonight's smooth save of the game is presented by Smoothie King. It was a free kick brought in by Najai, and Eric Dick got 2 hands to it.
Well, that's basically all he had to save in the entire match. I'm not even sure that was a shot.
Wasn't registered a shot on target.
More like a cross. So the goalkeeper doing what he had to do and doing it well.
And tonight's man of the match presented by Modelo with the 2 goals on the day, as well as the penalty. We're going to give that honor to Junior Etu with a massive performance.
Yeah, it's just top class. The first goal, he tucks it away. He wins the penalty for the second. He was just huge throughout, and that's coming from a wing-back position as well. So, brilliant, Junior Eto. Keep it going. The Hounds fans love you.
He scored the first. He scored the 5th. Earned the penalty for the 2nd. A massive moment for him on the day. He is the man of the match presented by Modelo. 5 goals for the Riverhounds. An absolutely unbelievable performance from start to finish. And they get themselves back to winning ways for the first time since May the 4th. Well, We can begin to gear up for the end of our broadcast. We'll take one last break. On the other side of it, we can look at the goals and how exactly Pittsburgh got themselves back to winning ways against a great, in-form Oakland Roots side. One last break. On the other side of it, highlights: Pittsburgh 5, Oakland 0.
Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Nice. A little salt, a little sweet.
And a little scratch.
Ah, the new big cash payout.
Top prizes of 500 grand.
You've been down this road before.
Let's just say I'm a road hog. Hey, bud,
At AHN, good heart care starts before you're just not feeling right. Before you say, it'll go away on its own. Before it doesn't. Because before an emergency, there's time to stop heart problems with a simple preventative heart check. At AHN, we see you.
Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF and you'll see the difference between other roofing companies and Ireland Contracting. Like Tom here. He's a professional.
Deanna?
Yes.
Hi, Tom from Ireland Contracting. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. You're right on time.
Always.
Let me show you my concern.
Absolutely.
And so, Tom will do a free inspection, answer your questions, and give you a realistic estimate. He takes your home's improvements so seriously, he treats it like his own. That's the Ireland Contracting difference. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF and see for yourself.
No need to pinch yourself, Pittsburgh fans. That is the full-time score, 5-0. Pittsburgh taking that one over Oakland. Jack Edwards, Gary Bailey. It's been a pleasure to share this one with you all day. We're rounding things out here. We can look at our full-time highlights, the match highlights presented by Corona. We can look at this one. Starting off in the 12th minute. They started strong and they continued. Robbie Mertz, the consistent metronome all throughout the day. Great footwork here to drag this one away. Moved along to Junior Etu for the first on the day.
Good pass from Bradley Sample. Fantastic finish, but as you say, starts with Robbie Mertz. The way he takes two defenders out with those little drag overs was top class. Brilliant. And then it sort of returns the other way. Junior Etu wins the penalty. Robbie Mertz tucks it away. 2-0 up and looking so good, the Riverhounds.
45th minute now, a really important moment here. The initial delivery pushed away. Mertz again gets into this one, plays it off. Sample had the assist for the first and now for the third as well. What a header by Suber.
Brilliant header by Suber. Nicely moved around here. Good ball in by Bradley Sample, but still, he's coming backwards, Suber. He's got a lot of work to do from 12, 13 yards out. Sticks it right in the top corner.
Canardo Forbes came on at halftime, and this is a great ball in by Mertz to find Blackstock. And watch the 11 in the box. Just gets his head to it, puts it away for 4.
That's a good header, but what a good pass it is. Who's there again starting all this? Robbie Mertz. Blackstock, fantastic. Picks out the run of Canardo Forbes, and King Kenny puts it in the back of the net. And then the final one is really just a calamity for Oakland Roots and Paul Blanchett. Cam Riley loses possession. King Kenny gets it to Keyser. And then it looks like the goalkeeper's got it. He dives on it and it just sneaks loose. Junior Etu says, thank you, I'll take it. And with that, Paul Blanchett chucks his gloves and his boots into the crowd, and he's had enough.
He had enough. Etu got there in the end. Blanchett tossing 2 pairs of shoes. His side falling 5-0. An improbable scoreline entering the day. Our full-time stats. Here are your full-time thoughts for you, Gary.
Shots on target for Oakland, 0. XG, 0.06, which is effectively 0. 1 corner. The stats are horrendous for Oakland Roots. And on the other hand, Pittsburgh Riverhounds only had a third of the possession, but 7 shots on target, 5 goals expected, goals of 2.12. You score 5 when you've only got an XG of 2. That's a fantastic day at the office for the Hounds.
Fantastic day at the office. They end a 6-game scoreless skid, win for the first time since early May by a score of 5-0. Some national TV games for them coming up. For Pittsburgh against Hartford at home. Oakland head back west. They take on Sacramento at home as well. 5 goals, 4 different goal scorers. Junior Etu got his season total to go with 2 goals. Earning the penalty, was our man of the match. For our entire production crew and Gary Bailey, I've been Jack Edwards saying so long from Highmark Stadium. A full-time score, Pittsburgh